Welcome to my channel. This video will be about my progress in the books by Kanoko Egusa. I absolutely love to make such videos. It helps me to look back at my progress, and it also helps me not to abandon these books and to color in them more regularly. So my 3 books by Kanoko, I'm really happy that now there publishers created English editions of such books, so more colorists will be able to color these beautiful designs, and I can highly recommend these books. Let's start from Rhapsody in the Forest. It's my least finished, least popular among the 3 of them. I love it, but comparing to Menuet, I think that art is a little bit more digital, simplified with some repeated patterns. So I simply use it a little bit less frequently comparing to Menuet. And now when I have Symphony, definitely my focus slightly moved to the smaller and more cute Symphony book. But still, I love this one. My 2 books, all my 3 books, they are Japanese editions, but I would say that paper is slightly different. In Rhapsody and Menuet, my favorite medium is definitely Prismacolor pencils. I also tried polychromases and watercolors. Watercolors are okay, polychromases I absolutely disliked on this paper, so now I happily color everything with Prismacolors, even backgrounds. On this paper I am ready even to do background on them. With pencils only. In these books I even did title pages, which is not very frequent thing for me. Usually I skip title pages, but here I absolutely love both verses around the name of the book, here and in Menuet. This one I want to do already several springs, but I never have time. I don't know why. And this one I also wanted to do this spring, but again, I wanted to color it, and I even know which colors to use, but somehow I again skipped it. Maybe I will try to color it somewhere during this fall season. So what I have in this book? I have this cake, which I did, I think, for my last birthday last year. Chocolate cake is my favorite one, so of course I had to put it in the middle of this picture, chocolate cake. It was fun to work on the cream and on the strawberries. As usual, I am not very happy how I do leaves. I still struggle and I still learn how to do natural looking leaves even with Prismacolor pencils, and I know that sometimes on the screen they can look excessively green. I still struggle with the color balance when I film videos, but here I think that everything looks very bright, yummy, and I am glad that I used this contrast blue, china blue, I think, color for the cooking mice. They are absolutely adorable. What else? Some pictures, they are nice, but slightly, I don't know, unbalanced somehow. So a lot of things here, but not many things on the upper part of the page. So of course I will color them, but after I color everything which I love a little bit more in Menuet and in Symphony. Here I have spread where on the right side I used watercolors for this very light, very simplified sand background, but still I was a little bit preoccupied how watercolors would behave on this paper, but everything worked very well without dots, stains, without bleeding through. So even if you want to color the whole page with watercolor, and if you can be considerate with the amount of water, I am sure that you can color in this book with watercolors only, but I combined Prismacolor pencils and watercolors. This one I absolutely love. I think that I told this story many times already. I participated in challenge where we had to do something dedicated to the centuries of the great geography discoveries, so I decided to turn all those 3 ships into Christopher Colon. I never know how to pronounce Cristobal Colon, how in English to pronounce his name correctly, but anyway, that was about discovery of America, and that's why I selected such colors for the ships. Now let's move forward. Each summer I want to do this spread with mermaids in Menuet, but I never found enough courage to start such a detailed double-page spread. And I wanted to do this one this summer. Maybe I managed to do it in August, but I don't think so. I already have such a huge plans not August, September. Such huge plans for September, so maybe it will have to wait a little bit more. I remember that it was one of the first pictures which I ever did for Halloween coloring. When I started to color, when I purchased books maybe for a year or maybe for 2, I didn't have any Halloween pictures at all in my books, so I skipped all those Halloween challenges, Halloween colorings on YouTube. But finally, when I got this book, I realized that I also can color something, and colors which we usually use for Halloween, all those purple, magenta, dark blue, black, together with orange and ochre yellow, they are my favorite. I always love how they look together, this orange against violet. It's one of my favorite color combos. So of course I was happy to do it. And still this mandala, or kind of mandala, it's one of my favorite finished Halloween pictures ever. It's not that I did a lot of Halloween pictures, but I think that this year I will try to do this one, maybe in October. Definitely not in September, but I hope to do it in October. That's where my experiments with watercolors weren't very successful, because I choose not the right type of watercolors. Here I used granulating watercolor, which creating stains. Maybe for other artistic effects it could be nice, but definitely not for this background where it simply created dirt. So I had to cover it in a couple of places with pencils, but those bright leaves, they slightly helped me to cover this mistake, this fault with the background. Because of the red color, background looks even brighter, and of course when I colored raccoons, they also helped slightly mask those not very successful coloring of the background. Here I practice how to do some small botanical elements, and it's good that I have videos. Even if I want to finish this spread one day, I can always return to my videos and to check which colors I used for these tiny elements, and to use them for the other repeated elements. Next one, it's one of my favorites in this book. Again, because I love this plant. I don't know the correct name in English, but it was quite popular. When I was small, such plants, they grow near my building, and they are very spectacular during fall season. Again, you know that during fall, everything starts to be gray, dull, not a lot of bright things. Leaves started to fall, but those they remained on the plant for a long time, and very beautiful and nice bright spots, and they are quite interesting when you open them. Inside there are those berries. You can also dry them and to create dried bouquets to decorate your house. So interesting. And of course I love to color owls. I think that it was one of my successful colorings of the faded wood and stone works. It's an old work, but I still like it, and I think that I put everything, all my skills which I owned at that moment, into this page. Next one, They are also quite old, but I love them both. For the right one, I was inspired by some documentary about Victorian style Christmas, which colors were traditional, and I learned that this violet, it was quite interesting color discovered at Victorian time, and the color was very expensive because the pigment was very expensive, just discovered, and only a very wealthy woman they can purchase dresses from this new fashionable color. So of course I wanted to use such a knowledge and to create my own Victorian style Christmas with a very calm background color without any traditional green and red, and with this violet boughs decorating the tree. Here it was my second successful attempt to do fur. Only in the books by Kanoko Egusa I discovered that I actually can color animals and fur. The first one were the wreath with the chipmunks, I will show you later, and it was the second attempt. I always loved such kind of Northern Europe, Norwegian probably, designs, patterns, so it also was a pleasure to color them. I tried to select colors which would complement and which wouldn't distract attention from the picture in the center, and I even happy how I did leaves here. So this one, it's definitely, it was old work, but I'm still proud of it. The next one, I remember that I colored for a couple of months. Of course I started it before Christmas, but I was so tired of doing the whole spread with pencils that I finished it somewhere in the end of January, but still I hope that I'm happy that I didn't abandon it. I think that mostly I was frustrated because of those circles. Maybe they are not very visible now, because on the sky I managed to turn them into some kind of light halo around candles and lanterns, so here they were logical. Here they were frustrating. I tried to mask them. Here on the snow they didn't bother me much, but to color all those similar candles, it was boring, and to do this dark background trying to cover paper without visible pencil strokes, it also was slightly boring. But I had a lot of fun doing all those warm highlights, light reflections around windows, on the snow, on the roof, from the northern lights, or maybe it's a morning sky with delicate pink, and also on the snow around the church. So it's a nice page, even if it was a very complicated coloring. Do I have anything else here? I want to do this one, but I'm not sure if I managed to do it. Oh, it's also one of the very old works where I hadn't covered any black lines yet, but I think that at least chickens, they look nice. That's where I started to add a little bit of brown, a little bit of French grays to blend them with yellow to make feathers a little bit more realistic, so it's not bad. And as I said, it's nice to look at your progress. I color in these books already for such a long time, and that's another spread which I want to do, and I love it because I can divide it into like 3 pictures and to do it slowly without pressing myself to do such a complicated and detailed spread. But as usual, it's always problem with time. And I have in the end those pages printed on the craft paper. I don't know if they are available in Dutch edition, probably not, but I don't know about English ones. Here I have several pictures printed on craft, and that's where I discovered that to color on the toned paper, it's totally different thing comparing to coloring on the white. This paper, it has more tools, and white, and light pastel colors, they behaved completely differently. So that's where I realized that it's very fun to color on the toned paper. When I will be able to print pictures again, maybe I will return to my experiments and I will color more on the toned paper. But at least I have a couple of this and I can color. I want to do this one. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Both the shape of the perfume bottle and butterfly. So maybe I will do this quick work. Now let's move to Menuet de bonheur. You know, I put into this book everything, my time, my efforts, my knowledges, my love to all those cute things, and it's a nice book, so I treasure it a lot. I can't promise that one day I will finish it. If you put away all my other books, I will be perfectly happy to color just this one, but pictures are detailed, they are big in size, so of course they require a lot of time, and having huge collection of books, I am so often distracted from this beauty. But I try to color at least one page a month, maybe one page in a couple of months, so at least I have slow progress. So Menuet de bonheur. Here again I did title page. It was quite fun to do this frame, this res, because it consists of small different things, so it's never boring. You need to color cookie, you need to color macaron, then you can color fruits, flowers, so it was quite fun and very instructive. I think that in this book I practiced how to color a lot of things: food, fabric, fur, of course, feathers, flowers, fruits, and all those textures like wood or china, glass also. Very good book for practice. That's another spread where I did everything with pencils. Here. Of course, I did it during springtime, so I was inspired by this very nice and always popular color combo of violet, blue together with yellow and orange. I love this color combo. I think that my favorite flowers here probably forget-me-nots and hyacinths. Well, I was a little bit afraid that ducklings and ducks would be slightly lost surrounded by such bright flowers, but I think that because of this a very intense green which I added to the feathers on the neck, I managed somehow to attract attention to them. Yeah, bunny and cat, they are slightly lost, but maybe it's here flowers are the focal point of this spring spread. You can see that here I finished a lot of pictures, and I am so happy to see how step by step my book started to fill in. This one I did several years ago for my own birthday in August. Again, it was nice to practice different fur on bunnies. 3 are similar to mother and 1 similar to father. Also, it was nice to practice fabric on their costumes. And again, this background with pencils, all favorite shades from Prismacolors: lilac, lavender, pale sage, great lavender, blue violet lake. You can see them here on the background. That was probably one of the most interesting colorings which I did, because it was unusual for me to select such color for the wallpaper for the children's bedroom, but I was tired of traditional colors. I will show you later. I did already several rooms, several interior designs, so I ran out of creative ideas about new colors. And I think that in the end it really worked well to do relatively dark wallpaper, relatively dark background, so all the attention goes to the cutest kittens. Again, I did 1 like mother and 2 like father. Here we have this adorable grandma knitting, and again I was afraid that she would be lost, especially because the mother cat, it has very bright gown, so I had to add very bright red to the knitting here. I hope that it helped a little bit. I learned a lot here about blending various shades of Prismacolor pencils. I realized that with Prismacolors you can blend everything with everything, especially on the good paper. That's spread which I finished this spring. Here I purchased a very interesting shade of watercolor Caput Mortuum Violet, and it helped me to do this dark but at the same time not macabre or boring dark background. Very good contrast to the fresh bright colors of the spring flowers and animals with light fur. Well, I'm not very good at coloring gods and godlings, but it was a nice practice. Here, for the children clothes, of course, I tried to use a lot of nice pastel shades, and I decided to do pencil background again using peach and pink and some cream. Well, I don't know, but I think that it worked in the end. When I do such pictures where we have huge mass of the various objects, I try to divide them into several coloring groups. So we have some pink objects, we have blue objects, yellow objects, and it helped to lessen amount of colors used and to get more well-balanced color combo. The same thing here, several lilac and lavender colors, couple of yellow elements. So I really work on limiting amount of colors I use for the pictures. So many nice pictures I still need to do in this book. Here also old work, but where I discovered that actually I can do background with pencils here. Before this one, it was my least favorite thing to do pencil background. I never had enough patience, enough courage to do such things, so I usually used soft pastel or watercolor, but here I realized that good paper is probably the most important thing. Here I tried to do this gradient from darker colors here near the bottom part, so darker green. Here more pastel colors to create more transparent and light background. I think that it worked quite well. Another picture of this picture I am absolutely proud of. It was a lot of time, a lot of work, but even now, after more than a year after I finished it, maybe even 2 years, I still like it. I know that there were several challenges, like on these balloons or this green background. Maybe I had to use more of Posca pens, but when I did it I had limited amount of colors, no normal green colors to outline leaves. So somewhere I tried to mask black lines, but still I love it, and I was very happy each of the moments when I colored it. Again, it was long but never boring, because you can color various fruits and vegetables, different animals, different colors for their clothes, and when you can use bright colors, I think that you never will be bored from your colorings. And of course it was a very good practice to color wood, to color all those tiles, to color metal. I think that metal here I did really well. I think that it was where I finally felt confidence that I can color metal parts. Well, when I did this one, probably this year, I remember that I struggled with the color selection for the inner part of the shelves, but everything else was very easy to color. Somehow Kanoko books, they are easy indeed for me. Yeah, I can struggle with some color choices, or I can be overwhelmed with the amount of the elements, but still it's a big pleasure to do them. In the end I did this very bright red color on their clothes, because I was afraid that bunnies would be lost against all the colorful fruits and vegetables. It was fun to imagine what they can keep inside of the bottles and jars. So I always try to imagine a little bit of story behind each of such pictures. That's another one of the interior designs which I did here, more traditional, more calm wallpaper. Here again I tried to show all those highlights from the sources of the light, from the lamps here. Then again I usually try to do different colors on the fur on the kittens here, and I enjoyed doing this quilt. It also was interesting to do this one because I did all those flowers quite, and hummingbirds, not hummingbirds, so it was easy to do flowers. When I divided them into several groups, I tried to use balance between some pastel flowers and several bright spots, and it was okay until I started to think how actually to do the background. I wanted to do background something very light and delicate, so here I used a lot of white dots and several shades of light green Prismacolor pencils. I tried to be very patient, to move in tiny circular movements. I wanted to have this slightly, I don't know, misty, milky effect when background is very soft without visible pencil strokes, and I think that it complemented nicely all those tropical flowers. That's the spread which I finished just recently. This one is, let me adjust my camera. I finished this in August, and this one I almost finished. I think that when I finish to do this video, I will finish to color this mice. Again, everything made with pencils. Here it was good practice how to color bricks and wood. Then the grass. Grass, it's my biggest problem, how to do proper texture. But at least bunnies, they were fun to do. And of course my favorite thing, all those flower pots, watering can and milk can. I enjoyed doing them such stuff. I always love pictures where I can find it. Here I think that my main idea was to start from this bluish green background to create maybe like a wet atmosphere of the forest, and then again I tried to divide mushrooms into groups with bright and more muted colors. I hope that I managed to do mice in a nice way, so it won't be ruined on the last step. Wish me luck. Next, it's a page where I decided that I can use polychromacies. I used them here on the palace, and I was so disappointed. All my favorite colors, which I usually use for the bricks, like sanguine, terracotta, burnt ochre, which I use for the gold, nothing worked for me, and when I did the central part, I happily switched back to Prismacolors. For the background, I used the fact that we have here this black paint, and those fireworks I did with my Color Fine Tech pearl and metal watercolor paints. Nice and shiny and festive. Oh, this is one of my oldest of works, but still I like it. Fun thing that my favorite part here, it's not the Mr. Frog or a Lady Bunny. Most of all here I'm proud of umbrellas. I put a lot of work how to show fabric folds and shape of the umbrella for them not to look flat, and I think that when I finished it I was crazy proud of myself. Maybe I didn't work properly on the shadows. During sunny day, of course, we have more contrast shadows on the sand, but well, I think that again I was overwhelmed in the end, so even now I think that it was quite decent work. That's the spread which I want to do each mermaid, but I never have courage. So many details. Maybe next year. Also one of the old works, and I think that here I did the soft pastel easy background to surround this page, but I practiced on all those feathers and fur. Some of them look better, like squirrels or cardinal bird. Some of them not so good, like those owls, but it helped me to decide about basic colors on the owl's feathers. So owls in the Rhapsody, which I did later, I managed to color in much better way. And the pomegranates here are probably my favorite part. I really enjoy doing them. And also the rowan. I love rowan, it's quite popular here, so I always love to find rowan trees with their bright elements during the dull fall season, and I love to color it. That's another old spread, another Halloween work. I think that here I even tried to use several Derwent color soft pencils to do the dark blue background, but mostly I used Prismacolors. Adorable kitten and mouse probably. But here I realized that I need to practice more how to do pumpkins, and I think that after several pictures I improved my pumpkin skills. Anyway, the page of the right, it was one of the first which I published on Patreon, I think, and here it was also very good practice both for the for how to properly show texture, starting with light colors, then trying to add color accents and texture, and then of course quite interesting color combo for leaves and berries. A lot of good memories about this one. I was afraid, but with each element I was more convinced that I can do something decent and nice from this page. Here another design of the very sweet room. Again we have children's room. I tried to imagine which kind of interior design I can do for them. Children nursery, and I selected this time those beige and peach colors. I think that everything worked well. I was confused first by all those butterflies. I don't know if it was part of this canopy in the central part or if it was something imaginary from their reading story. In the end I simply tried to mask them a little bit with yellow color matching to the color of these curtains and trying to outline them with Posca, but everything else worked quite well. Here it was also a lot of fun because I love to color birds. It's much easier comparing to coloring furry animals. Feathers are easier to do, and here when we have parrots with their bright feathers, it was double pleasure, and of course tropical flowers. In the end, I didn't know what to do with the background. Somehow it felt empty without any background, so I didn't want to leave it as it was, so with pencils I added a little bit of shading in complementary color here. You can see that it's blue-violet, and then with simple cold gray I indicated some kind of frame. I think that it worked nicely, without overwhelming, without distracting attention, but also it helped this page to look more finished. That's another one of my favorite works. I did it a couple of years ago before Christmas, and of course it was about this kitten who went probably purchase or just sightseeing for the future presents, for the to do some shopping. Again I tried to divide those various objects in the shop window. I tried to divide them into several color groups, and then I used a very intense color for the kitten's clothes to attract more attention here to this area. I hope that it worked. In the end I sprinkled with white gouache to do this reminder that we have winter shopping here. That was my first successful attempt to do fur on these tiny chipmunks, and the shading made by Kanoko was very helpful. So area of the fur it was small, and it helped me to gather my courage. Again, here I didn't know what to do with the background. Of course, I could put more efforts into doing with more soft edges without this quite ugly border between white and blue, but you know that I never return to my old works, and I definitely don't intend to correct it now, even if I can see where I can improve it. But never change my old works. Another good spread. Well, why I can't put my book today inside of the screen? Well, here it was interesting architectural practice. Yeah, now maybe I can see that it's not enough of strong contrast between those shelves on the foreground and this background, which is more highlighted from the light coming through the glass dome. But at the time it was interesting how actually to do those white walls, but with some shading to show that this actually it's a round area beneath the round dome, how to show sunshine coming through the glass and reflecting from the glass in the windows and on the light walls. So for me it was quite helpful. And I also practiced how to do clothes. I imagine that they are made from velvet, so they have this velvety surface. Prismacolors are really good for such things. Here, I don't know why I decided to do this page. It was, I think that I was attracted to a couple of shoes, and I did them. Then I decided that, oh, I can finish this one. Again, I tried to think which materials they are made from. I have leather shoes, I have probably made from silk, made with velvet, and I really tried to show it. I hope that this one also is velvet, maybe for some other fabric additions. So it was fun to think about all those old fashionable shoes. And in the center I have this like Cinderella shoe. So it's shiny and golden. Maybe I had to use something different for the background to attract more attention to this golden shoe. But anyway, again, as a background, I felt that it was necessary, but I already had a lot of colors here. And sometimes such simple, calm, slate gray or gray background, it really helped to finish your page without feeling very overwhelming. That's one of my old but still favorite works in all my books, because of the efforts which I put into it. I tried my best how to do this frame with a lot of ornaments, with the carved ornaments and golden cover, how to do reflection, how to show properly that it's actually a reflection of the cat, and how to do fur. And I think that in the end everything worked well, so I am still proud of this one. Here I was asked to copy Coloring by Shirley Tutopia, and Shirley inspired me to do this book. I tried to do something from myself here because I definitely don't have skills by Shirley. She added a lot of wonderful flowers around, maybe a couple of times more comparing to what we had originally. I definitely don't have such skills, but I know how to do more simplified shapes of flowers, so I also added something from myself to fill in this inner part. And here I can do leaves and more simplified plumeria flowers. I'm not as good as drawing roses as Shirley, but thanks to her for the idea. She also has more complicated background. I decided that for me it would be enough just to surround my mirror with a little bit of blue. And well, sometimes I also enjoy to follow tutorials, and it was one of the things where I really found it very helpful. Here another room, another interior design and a different color for the wallpapers. I think that here this lady bunny tried to change from the everyday clothes. Maybe she finished the work. So here we have more simplified and calm colors for the clothes. And here she tries to find proper evening dress, something more festive, more fashionable. That's what I tried to show with this page. It was also one of the old works. You can see very simple shading with pencils, not very careful because I can see pencil strokes, but I think that here most of all I was proud of this wooden frame. I don't know how I managed to do it. I think that now I wouldn't be able to repeat it, maybe just after watching the same video. So sometimes, yeah, it's helpful to watch your own videos. Next, we have this globe. Here I know that maybe I wasn't very correct in showing properly all areas of the mountains and of the plains, but I think that I was more concentrated how to show properly the shape of the globe and how to do all those birds. That's where I discovered this beautiful Japanese bird Egusa with this unusual color of feathers. Very interesting things. So many things you can learn while coloring. And I think that this one will be my next project in this book. I finally decided which colors I can try on the kimono, so even if it's a spring page, I really want to color it. Well, now let's move forward because I definitely have more works here. Another spread, another mass of things. That's definitely one of the spreads where I would prefer to have lesser amount of elements. I think that Kanoko put too many of those fans, especially with the same ornaments. It was too much, especially because we have those areas with the ornaments around. I would prefer a lesser amount of secondary things so we can concentrate on the cat, on the deer, on the frog. It was fun. You can compare the size of the insect comparing to the size of the sparrow. Well, I loved so much to look at this huge insect. But still, I like it, and I think that this area that's my favorite. I love to color chrysanthemum flowers, and it was fun to color this kimono. I tried to show that it had this golden fabric ornaments on the sleeves and in the front part. So that's what I love the most here. Next, of course, I wanted to color Alice. When I discovered that this picture has connection to Alice, I did it. Here I remember that it was fun to practice how to do almost white china. Then I decided to do this another connection to Alice by painting part of the roses with red paint. I also had this idea to do mirror background, but it actually doesn't look like mirror because it doesn't have reflection of all objects which are standing in front. But I was afraid that I would ruin it without I didn't have enough skills. I realized what is the problem, but I didn't know how to do all those reflections because already it was very overwhelmed. So I decided to leave it as it is, and I still like it. The next one, I have this simple pictures where I wanted to do something nice and quick. I did them step by step. I have them on my YouTube channel. Here I wanted to use one of the watercolor paints with white pigment, and I can't say that they worked really well here. Regular transparent watercolor worked better. I still have this stains which I don't like. Maybe I had to cover it with a second layer, but I wanted to color the main objects, so background looks a little bit untidy. That's what I don't like. I did this spread this summer, I think in June. I remember that it was a lot of work, but it helped me to distract myself from all the ugly things around. So I am very grateful that I can color a lot of sunflowers. You know that sunflower, it's one of the symbols of Ukraine, and I think that I try to find pictures with sunflowers everywhere in all my books. So that's why I started this spread, and I actually love how it turned out. You can clearly see all the animals, they are not lost between flowers and bright background. The only thing which I really sad about, it's that part of the kitten, it's lost inside of the binding. It's such adorable kitten. I do love this ginger color of the fur, and nice match to the stripes, but part of it was lost in the middle. And I think that it's, oh no, I still have one picture on the craft and one here. I definitely need to color. I want to color this Mr. Frog. Adorable. And finally, book which I received this summer. I wanted it for such a long time. Really wanted it, and now I have it, and I can color it from the beginning to the end. Really nice. Here I managed to do just 2 pictures. Let me show you the first one. As usual, I started to color it with Prismacolors, and it was quite hot weather in July when I did it, and I felt like my Prismacolors, they totally melted here. I had difficulty with blending from light to dark, so some of the areas, they look even dirty. I was slightly disappointed. Page by itself was complicated because small area and so many things put, especially on the bottom part of the page. But I think that I managed to color all of them properly, and even all of the main characters, they are not lost against all the fruits. But I was preoccupied by the paper and how pencils behaved. I was so sure that Prismacolors would be the best choice. I decided to color my second page with polychromasis, and you know, I also wasn't very happy. I still had problems with blending, and I think that now, after I tested both media, I will return to Prismacolors. Maybe for smaller elements I can color with polychromas. Yeah, when I did all those seaweeds, corals, it was easy to work with polychromasis. But for the bigger areas, Prismacolors gave better result. So I still think that I need to practice more on this paper. Because I do tutorials in this book, I don't want to use something like Sucolor, which not everyone owns. So I need to practice between polychromasis and Prismacolors. I already selected which would be my next thing, this one, and I think that I will give a try to Prismacolors again. They have perfect colors to do the wall and all those flowers, so I think that I need more practice. But even such small questions to the paper, it doesn't matter for me much, because I absolutely love designs here, and this book I can highly recommend it. I don't know if they already published English book, but I think that it will be very soon. Or you can purchase this Japanese, it also quite well. It's my own questions and compare about pencils, but paper, it's really good. Anyway, I hope that in the end of the year, in December, when I usually do a flip through of all my finished works, I will show you many more of my finished Kanoko Egusa books, because I did a couple of pictures this month. I definitely plan to do at least a couple of pictures in September. Of course, I want to do fall pictures here during October and November, and in this book I finally have huge selection of nice Christmas and winter designs. So a lot of work ahead of me, but also a lot of pleasure. Kanoko Egusa is definitely one of my favorite artists. Thank you, and I hope to see you very soon. And in the end of the video I will leave you a link to my videos from Kanoko books and to my playlist on YouTube. Thank you and bye!